All right, everybody, I'm back for part 2. So, as I stated, I wanted my daughter to come out and be with me, and she said she was working on getting her plane ticket on her way to come see me because, as I stated, my daughter is very detail-oriented. She asks a lot of questions. She's very serious about everything. She took everything with my mother before she passed away, and just make sure things are in order. That's what she does. She got it honest, obviously, from my mother, making sure things are very detail-oriented. But here's the thing. I felt comfortable with her being there because, mind you, although I've been in a new state for over 4 years at the time of the stroke, I'm originally from Chicago. So I'm used to all the things that I'm able to navigate through Chicago. I know how those things work. I was in another state, just felt comfortable, feel better with my daughter being there. And she came. She ended up coming, and she stayed with me the entire time while I was in the hospital. So I ended up having to go to what is called the stroke rehab hospital, or the stroke rehab. And I stayed in rehab for 30 days. When I tell y'all them 30 days, whew, child. I had to learn how to re-walk. They had to bathe me, wash me. They had to wipe me. They had to do everything. The only thing I could really do was brush my teeth and wash my face. That's the only thing I could really do at that time. When I tell you, there were some times that were so sad. You know, with my daughters being there, I'm getting choked up talking about it. Give me a second. There was a time when my daughters were there, and as I was going through my rehab, I was doing speech therapy, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. There were times when I was doing my physical therapy, and they were in the room there with me, and they saw their mother having to start all over again. They're not used to their mother being in that state. You know what I mean? Because I'm a former bodybuilder, y'all. They know their mother is very strong, self-sufficient, able to walk and do her own things. I mean, I'm telling y'all, I used to hike. I used to lift heavy weights in the gym. I did all of that. That's used to. I will be back to doing what I need to do. So at times I will look over as I'm going through my rehab. I will look over at them and, you know, one of the other daughters, whichever one was there with me, I look over and they're crying. And when I saw them crying, that made me cry. Okay, so now I'm back. I had to gather myself together because me, even with the stroke happening, this impacts my voice box, you know, and everything with it. As I stated, when I look over and I would look at them and I would start crying and they would start crying because I kept saying, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry this is happening right now because this changed my entire family's life. When I say entire family, I'm talking about my 2 daughters. This changed our lives. This put us in a whole different state. They ended up having to put their lives on hold or shift their lives around to take care of their mother, which is fine, but I personally don't want to be a burden on nobody. Nobody. I don't care if you do have the capability of taking care of me. I'm the one that takes care of people. I don't mind being taken care of, but I'm the one, you know, since my mother passed away, I'm the one that does all of that. But I didn't take that burden on. I didn't want to take that burden on with my daughters. My daughters help me with everything. My baby girl does my hair for me. She lotioned me up after I got out the shower from rehab. I had to learn how to, learn how to bathe again. I had to learn how to shower again. I had to learn to wash my face. I didn't feel comfortable with them wiping me. So I was learning how to do that all over again, obviously with my dominant hand. Sometimes I would have my daughters do it. But my older daughter, I didn't even want them doing it because You're talking about a person that's self-sufficient, But I will say this, everything happens for a reason. Maybe that was my sign to sit back, sit down, and chill out. There's a lesson in everything. There's never a loss, there's a lesson. The only time it's a loss is if I'm gone. And I'm still here. Ta-da! So, as I stated, my daughter was taking care of all of my business for me, all of my medical information for me, setting up to make sure I got my short-term disability, making sure that the situation that was going on in Chicago that I had going on, I was trying to take care of my mother's estate, and wasn't getting very much cooperation with that. Again, that's a whole nother story. So excuse my voice, y'all, because it does crackle every now and then. So as I'm in rehab, while I'm in rehab, 2 weeks in rehab, guys, my job, HR calls me. My daughter answers all my calls because I wasn't answering my phone. My job from HR calls me and tell me they have to terminate me. I got terminated while I was in rehab, stroke rehab, laying up in the hospital bed. They fired me while I was in work. And I know people were like, can they even do that? Is that legal? Yeah, it depends what state you're in. Every state has their own rules and regulations when it comes to employees. And that's called an at-will state. At-will means your employer can fire you at will whenever they choose to, whenever they want to. Well, I know I was calling in for work because you have to call in at that time. You have to call in and let them know whether you're going to be late, whether you're coming in or not, whether you're taking a sick day or whatever. And I called in at the times that I was able to call in. I even talked to my boss the day I got checked in with the hospital and told him, I said, I had a stroke. He said, oh man, I understand because my dad had a stroke. This was my supervisor. So he was very understanding, but HR had to do what HR had to do. I got fired on my job while I was in rehab. I was laid up in a stroke rehab bed. And my daughter told me, over the phone that they called me. I don't know, I think they sent me an email and I'm not sure. I got to look and see. So they called to talk to my daughter over the phone, said they had to let me go. I still don't understand why they let me go, but they let me go because I wasn't coming into work. Of course I wasn't coming into work. I was in the hospital. I had a stroke. And they knew about it. So I told them to pack up my things and mail it to me. Well, today of this video, I still have not gotten my stuff back yet. That's at my job. The stuff that we leave on our desk. And I didn't have that much because I stopped that years ago. Stopped bringing personal things like your pictures of your family, your inspirations and all that stuff. I stopped doing that. But I had a few things. I had a blanket because it get cold in those offices sometimes. I had a small desk humidifier on my desk because the air was really bad in that place. And it's really dusty in there. I had a pillow for my lumbar, to support my back. I had, I don't think I had a heater. I had I could have had a heater, I'm not sure. A space heater. Sometimes it gets really cold in those. No, I didn't because I had the blanket. At any rate, they fired me. I had only been at that job for a year. So it wasn't like I was there for years on at a time, 5-6 years. I had only been there for a year. So, yeah, they fired me on my job. And I was like, well, let's file for short-term disability. Well, that ran out. Now I get to file for long-term disability. Well, here's the thing. I understand how this disability things work because I was a bill collector, former bill collector. And when we hear people say they're waiting on their approval for the disability, that sometimes, based on my experience, takes 8 months, 10 months to a year for long-term disability. Short-term disability sometimes can get approved, within a few weeks. Once the paperwork is filed and your HR department has to file that for you and, approve you for it and get everything submitted for you. Well, while I was in the hospital, again, y'all, I got fired while I was in the hospital. I just, I had a little money in the bank so that I could still take care of my rent while I was in the hospital. But I didn't have enough money at that time. And I still haven't gotten approved for long-term disability. Thank God. My daughter at that time was able to assist me with things in addition to my own money that I had. I had a couple of dollars saved, and I hadn't much. I had a couple of dollars saved up. Well, I'm still waiting on long-term disability because I'm unemployed right now. I have no income. This is why I do attempt to try and do day trading. I'm not making any money from that yet. Not yet. I will be sometime in the future, but I have to wait on my long-term disability. So that takes time to get reviewed and approved. So I'm looking at my eyes, y'all, in my face. I look a little tired, but actually I'm not. I'm actually feeling pretty okay. I just went through a little spell of rehashing the situation when my daughters see me in this state of being. They had never seen their mother in this state of being. They've always seen their mother very athletic, on the go, always doing things, very active, just able to take care of her own things. And now I'm at a point where I had to learn how to re-walk, re-talk, and just redo everything. And so I look at it like this. If you're going through a situation right now, whether it be a stroke, a heart attack, or anything like that, just know things do happen for a reason. It does happen for a reason. And it's not that you're trying to get back to your old self again. You're really at the stage where you're rejuvenating yourself to become the new you. You're actually becoming the new you, the new you supposed to be. So you had to die to that old self that you had before. And now you're being prepared for the new age you, the new you, the real you. Because during that time that I was going through whatever I was going through, that was a time where you knew who people were to you, you knew who family was to you, you knew what your job was to you or not, in all cases, in most cases. You knew who your friends were. You probably made new friends, made new acquaintances. Because when I tell y'all, let me tell y'all something. There are some angels on earth. And I didn't get any assistance from anybody early on in the stage. They was calling to help me out. And it's not nobody's responsibility to take care of me in that instance. But just know that you really do find out who people are, because people have their own issues. They have their own situations. But to see me in this very vulnerable stage, not being able to take care of myself physically and mentally, I was messed up. Spiritually, I was messed up. So to me, this is just a rejuvenation, a reset. It's a reset to not necessarily reclaim who I used to be, because whoever I used to be got me in this situation. So that old person is gone now. Now you work on being the new you that you are. Okay? So yes, just so you guys know, I did get fired from my job while I was in rehab. I know it took a long time before I got to this part, but I appreciate you guys sticking around. I have more videos coming up throughout this process of what I've experienced. They still don't know what caused a stroke, but there are things that contributed to it, and I'll make another video of that later on. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share some of your stories, because I'll attempt to I will respond to as many comments as I can. I try to stay active, not just on social media, but at home, do my exercises, do my speech therapy for myself to make sure I can get back to clear voice, clear speaking. So because sometimes I do stumble over my words like I'm doing now. And you just have to keep going. You just have to keep showing up. Show up for you. You're not showing up for your family. You're showing up for you so that you can become better at who you are. You can become better at who you are for your family, but the first person that needs to show up for, you need to show up for, is yourself. It's for you. Keep in mind, I'm still the coach, because everything that I did in bodybuilding literally prepared me for this, such a time as this, during this stage of my life of recovering, rehabbing, getting prepared for the new Cheryl. Okay? You have any questions, post them below. And I'm still waiting on disability. I'm still waiting on long-term disability. Still trying to find out what's going on with that. And what else? Yeah, I'm really taking it one move at a time, one day at a time. See you guys on the other side. And if you're going through something, just know you're going to get through it. You're going to get through it. You ain't got no choice but to get through it, because you're going to be the example. You're going to be the testimony that somebody needs to hear and needs to see. You're going to be that person. So stick around, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you guys on the other side. Thank you.